Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we're here today with episode number 11 in our incredible new tutorial series where you're teaching your Raspberry Pi who's boss. What I'm going to need you to do is pour yourself a nice tall glass of ice cold coffee. That is straight up black coffee poured over ice, no sugar, no sweeteners, none needed. And as you're pouring your coffee, as always, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Sunfounder. Sunfounder is actually sponsoring this most excellent set of video tutorials on the Raspberry Pi. And in these lessons, we will be using the Sunfounder Ultimate Raspberry Pi Kit. Hopefully most of you guys have your gear already. If you don't have your gear, look down in the description. There is a link over to Amazon where you can pick up one of these really cool kits. But enough of this shameless advertising. Let's jump in and talk about what I am going to teach you today. And what I'm going to teach you is I'm going to teach you how to use the RGB LED. That is the red, green, blue LED. Now, up until this point, we have learned quite a bit already on the simple red LED. We have learned how to turn it on and off with the GPIO pins. We've learned how to use pulse width modulation to make it brighter or dimmer through the GPIO pins. And then we've learned how to read input from an input GPIO pin and like hook it to a button and have the button either turn the LED on and off or use the button to use several buttons to control the brightness of the LED. So we've done a lot, but it's time for us to start branching out to some components that are a little bit more fun. So the first thing we are going to need to do is find our most excellent RGB LED, and I think I'll come over. Ooh, dropped my mouse, but no harm done. Okay, we'll come over here to the studio view, and I think that is pretty cool, and I will get out of your way, and then you will look here, get out your Sunfounder kit, and we're going to need a couple of different things here. What we are going to need is, first of all, you see here, I have my breadboard. So get out your breadboard. Of course, you'll need to get your Raspberry Pi out and get it booted up. And then you're going to need these three male to female jumper wires. You're going to need the red one, the green one, and the blue one. You could use any color wire. The color wire doesn't matter. But if I'm going to be using RGB on an LED that can turn red, an LED that can turn green, or an LED that can turn blue, it kind of makes things easier if I control the RGB channels using wires that are RGB. And then of course you're going to need a ground wire. So you will need wire number 4, which I like to use black for ground wire. So you don't have to, you can use whatever color wires you want, but I just find it kind of helpful in troubleshooting and debugging if I kind of put a little thought into the color wires that I use. Now what you're going to do is open up your most excellent Sunfounder Raspberry Pi Ultimate Starter Kit. And then here on the first level, we have this wonderful little bag of LEDs. You can see there's red, there's green, there's blue. There's some white ones in here. Okay. But if you look, there is one special LED and only one. And so you want to be very careful with it because you only have one. And that is the one that is white and has 4 legs. Okay, you see you have one that is white and has 4 legs. You need to get that one. Okay, and now we're going to be neat and we're going to put this back. You're also going to need 3 330 ohm resistors. And so we have been playing with these resistor packs. Now, if you are like me and have been taking this class, then you've already been using 330 ohm resistors. And hopefully, number one, hopefully you just didn't throw them back in the bag unlabeled. And then also, hopefully, every time you need a 330 ohm resistor, that you don't go back. You don't go back and just pull off new ones. What I do is after I've used them, I like to label them, like you can see here, 330 ohm with a piece of masking tape, and then just tape them all together. And so I'm going to pull out for my little taped label ones. I think when we did the LED counter, we used 5, and so I've probably got 5 pulled off, but I only need 3 today, so I'm going to pull those 3 off and then put them down here in my build area. And then the rest of these 330 ohms I'm going to put back in the most excellent kit. And I think for today, that is what we're going to need out of the kit. Don't you like just kind of looking in here and seeing all this amazing goodness? We're going to be playing with this kit for a long time in this class. There is a lot of neat stuff, and we're going to be building a lot of fun projects. But we're always starting with the fundamentals, and we like to do the fundamentals on simple components so that if we do make a mistake, we don't really hurt anything. These LEDs don't cost very much. Although, like I say, you only have one RGB LED, so you want to make sure that you don't damage it. Okay, so let's come in, and I need to move over to a different view here, and I think this is a good view. You've got a live view of my build area, and then you've got a schematic of what we are trying to build here. Okay, the RGB LED has 4 legs, and what I'm holding here in my hand you can see here above me, and yours might not be exactly like this. Well, it will have 4 legs. Okay, that's good. And sometimes though, if you look at the R, the G, and the B, sometimes they're not like that, but you'll figure that out soon enough. Like if you think you're turning it red and it turns blue, you know that your pins might be a little different. But always, as far as any LED I have ever seen that's an RGB LED, the long leg is always ground. Okay, the long leg is ground, and now the leg that is by itself is shown above, that's to the left of the long leg, that is usually red, and then to the right of the long leg, the one that is almost as long, that leg is green, and then the little short leg to the right is blue. And so the thing is, hold your LED in that same configuration where the little short leg by itself is to the left. Okay, that's how I have it. And now we're going to come down and we're going to plug that in, and I'm going to just plug it into a convenient spot here. And of course, one leg goes in each hole in different columns, if that makes sense. So I've got to get each leg in a different column, and it actually is a little bit tricky to try to do live here, but I think if you're not having to worry with the camera, you can get it closer to your face and you can do it. Okay, so let's take a look there. Do you see how I have each leg in a different column, and I've got them kind of lined up? And that second to the left one, that's my ground. That second to the left one, that is my ground. And so what I am going to need is, I am going to need to go ahead and I'm going to start by hooking the ground pin up. So the ground pin is the second to the left, that's the long one, and as in the diagram up there, I'm going to run that down to my ground rail. And so I'm going to go the second to the left one, and I am going to run that down to my ground rail, which I'm making here. I'm making it the second to the bottom row as shown in the diagram there. Okay, now if that is going to be my ground rail, I need to make it my ground rail by connecting that row to the Raspberry Pi. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this in that second to the bottom row. And now I need to find a good ground. Well, how can we do that? We can come over here to our diagram, and you can see that the lower left pin, that's pin 39, the lower left pin here indeed is a ground. So I'm going to take that to the lower left pin, and that is going to go down here to the most excellent pin 39. Okay, and then boom, now I have a ground rail and I have my LED grounded. Now I am going to need 3 current limiting resistors. I'm going to need a current limiting resistor for the red channel, for the green channel, and for the blue channel. Now, some people oftentimes will come in and say, well, can't I just put one current limiting resistor and put it on the ground wire and that will be in series for R, for G, and for B? No, that won't work. If you only turned R on or G on or B on at a time, that might work. But if you're starting to mix and match colors, then you're going to cause great problems. So really you need a 330 ohm current limiting resistor in each channel. And I'm going to do that as I show above here by jumping over that center trench where things, the connection is broken. And so I will come in here to my B channel, and I am going to come into my B channel, the one on the right, the rightmost leg, and I have my current limiting resistor in. Now I'm going to come to my G channel, which is the second to the right. You see, you really want to get your face right down on your work, and since I'm filming, I can't do that, so it's a little harder for me to see. So I've got those two in, and now finally the red channel is on the left, and I will put that current limiting resistor in. Like that. Now we'll tip it up. That all looks good. Guys, make sure that when you're packing things in close like this, make sure that you don't have like two legs of the resistor touching each other. Like you don't want this resistor touching that resistor, because you would be shorting out your channels. And so be kind of neat and careful in your builds. Okay, be kind of neat and careful in your builds like that. Okay, now what do I have? I have, if you look up here, 39 is the ground, the lower left pin. Now the pin above that would be 37, and I'm going to make that the red channel. So I'm going to come in with my red wire. I'm going to go from pin 37 on the Raspberry Pi like that, and I'm going to come over and put it in that same column as the lower leg of my R channel current limiting resistor. Now what's next? The next is going to be G, and G, green, is going to go to pin 35, and then B is going to go to pin 33. So we've got 39 is ground, 37 is red, and now I've got 35 is G, and then 33 is going to be B. Okay, so 39, 37, 35, 33 are the pins we're using. And now I need to come over here. So I've got R connected. Now I'm going to connect G to the middle leg, and then B, blue, to the right leg. Okay, so now down here I have connected as I have it in the schematic there. Okay, so that was a pretty easy circuit. That was a pretty easy circuit to hook up. Now again, kind of the sad thing here is these RGB LEDs are really quite brilliant and quite beautiful, but the colors just don't pick up very well on the studio cameras. And so when you do this, it's going to look a lot better in real life. It's going to look a lot better in person than it is when you look at my camera view here. But this is kind of like we're going to do the best we can. So let me get this all properly aligned. Okay, and then we've got this. All right, now what we need to do is we need to, I believe, come over to my code view. Let's see if I've got a good code view here. Yes, we do. And then I think what I will need to do is just move this up like this. So now you can see everything and you can be watching as I am coding. Okay, so you've got your Raspberry Pi up, and now what we're going to need to do is we are going to need to start a terminal. And man, I love just running from the command line on the terminal. I just love doing this. And in fact, I love just opening up a Python shell and just banging things out on the shell. And then you can come back later and write a program. But I just kind of want to show you how this thing works. And so what should I do? Well, I want to operate from the command line. So I want to type Python. No! What would happen? I would be in Python 2.7. We don't want that, right? We got to remember what? Python 3 and then boom, we are in Python 3.7.3 if you are on the Buster operating system like I am. Okay, now what are we going to want to do? Well, the first thing we're going to want to do is import who? Our friend Mr. uppercase R, uppercase P, little I dot GPIO, and we're going to import that as GPIO. You can import it as whatever you want. You could import it as kitty litter box, but that's not very descriptive, so I'm going to import it as GPIO. One day I am going to do a lesson where I import RPI GPIO as kitty litter box and show you that that will in fact work. Boom. Okay, we've got the library. Now what I'm going to want to do is I got to tell it GPIO. I've got to do the set mode. And what's that? I am telling it that I am using the physical pin numbering system. So we do that with saying the board. That means the board numbering system, the physical pin numbering system. Okay, now what we need to do is a GPIO. Let's go ahead and do like an R pin. I'm going to say R pin is what? R pin is 37. Okay, and then I'm going to do a G pin is equal to 35, and then a B pin is equal to 33. All right, now I guess I could have just used the numbers, but this way I only have to think about it once, and now I just do R pin, G pin, B pin as I want. You know, I don't have to ever think about what's what again. Okay, now I need to set up those pins, so I'm going to do a GPIO dot set up, and what am I going to set up? I'm going to set up R pin, and it is a what? GPIO. I better put a comma. It is a GPIO dot what? It is an out, like that. Okay, now we're going to take advantage of the wonderful little up arrow, and then instead of R pin, this is going to be G pin is an out, and then this is going to be RG what? B pin is an out. So now we have everything set up. Okay, we have everything set up. Now we're going to see, can we turn the LED red? How would we do that? We would go GPIO dot what? GPIO dot output. Okay, and then what do we want to turn? We want to turn R pin, and then what do we want to turn it? We want to turn it. We could turn it true. We could turn it 1. Let's just make it a 1. Okay, so all eyes on the LED. Okay, I will need everyone to hold their breath. Oh, what? Oh, what is that output? I swear I typed a T, and it's this dinky doofus little keyboard that isn't recording my keystrokes. So let's put the T in there. The real reason is one of you guys didn't hold your breath, and I think you know who you are. So this time I need everyone to hold their breath. Boom! Shazam! Look at that bright red RGB LED, bright red, just like we wanted. Okay, now, man, and I just wish that you could see it more clearly like I'm seeing it. That is just a beaming, beautiful, bright red color. Okay, now if I can turn red on, what else can I do? I can turn it off with a 0. Shazam! Okay, well, it's RGB, so I might want to do what? I might want to turn green on. So I'm going to say GPIO output, and I am going to turn green on with a 1 there. And that did not work. Okay, so we have a problem here. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I didn't have the little resistor. Let me get this plugged in good. Okay, for some reason, you know, one little thing that I notice is these legs on these resistors are very small, and you've got to be, they're a little thin, and you got to be a little deliberate to make sure that you've really got them down in there good. Okay, so that was a little bit of a disappointment that that resistor wasn't in there, but now I'm going to make G0, and just so that we want to get the full effect here, we're going to come up with a 1 again. Boom! Look at that. All right, we will turn it off like that. Okay, now what we will do is we will come in and we are going to do blue. So I'll do B, and that is going to be a 1, like that, and it comes on a beautiful, lovely blue, and then we'll turn it off. Shazam! Who's the magic man? I just taught you how to use an RGB LED using the GPIO pins from the command line. And so I think that is just pretty cool. I want to play with it a little bit more. I want to go turn the green on. Okay, turn the green off. Turn the red on. Turn the red off. And so you see we are controlling this. We are controlling this from the Python shell, which is just really fun. And I think green is really pretty, so I'll kind of leave it there. I'll kind of leave it there at green. Okay, so I think I need to give you all guys a homework. So I've shown you how to do this from the command line. And so this is your homework. Okay, this is your homework. If you will look in your most excellent, Sunfounder Ultimate Raspberry Pi Starter Kit, and let's see, I think maybe I'll go back here to the studio view because studio view looks like it's locked up, but let me come back over here to an overhead view. All right, like this. And what I will show you guys is over here in this bag of components in the upper left. Okay, if you look in there, what you will find is you will find 4 large switches. Okay, and let me see if I had them out already, but now I've got them. Okay, so I guess these things don't pop off. They are 4 large switches, okay, like this, little buttons, okay, and then in a separate little bag in this area, you'll see the little button that goes on top of it. So the bottom button switch, the black part, is in this bigger bag of goodies, and then there's a separate bag that has the little color tops on them, and there's 4 of those switches. There are 4 of those little buttons, but I only need you to use 3 of them, and those 3 are going to be the R, the G, and the B, the red, the green, and the blue. Okay, and then what your homework is going to be, is going to be to come in here. Okay, it's going to be to come in here and add these switches to your circuit, okay, and then to write a program. And what that program is to do is if I press the red button, the RGB LED turns red. If I press red again, red turns off. If I press green, it turns green. If I press green again, the green turns off. If I press this one, the LED turns blue, and if I press it again, the blue goes off. So I can sit here blue on, blue off, green on, green off, and red on and red off, so that you have a little circuit that will set the color based on which button you press. Okay, does that sound like fun? I hope it does. And this should really, I'm hoping that most of you guys will be able to do this, because this isn't a very hard lesson. This is really just kind of taking what we've already learned and applying it together at the same time to do something that's kind of new and something kind of cool. So I think most of you guys will be able to do it. Now, when you do it, make sure that you do a screen capture and then you post your homework solution to YouTube, and then in your description, link back to this video so anybody watching your video has context of what you're trying to do. And then on my video down below, put a comment with a link over to your homework solution. And when you guys do that, I look at every single one of your homework solutions and usually comment, because I want to see, are you understanding it? Are there people actually doing the homework? And so make sure that you do that. Okay, guys, I hope that you are having as much fun taking these lessons as I am making them. As always, I want to give a shout out to my Patreons. It is your support and your encouragement that keeps this great content coming. You guys that are not helping out yet, look in the description. There is a link over to my Patreon account. Think about hopping on over there and hooking a brother up. Okay. Also, if you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. If you've not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. When you do, ring that bell and you'll get notifications when my future my future videos and lessons are released. And share this with other people, because the world needs more people coding and doing engineering work, and fewer people sitting around watching silly cat videos. Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.